And I'm Ava.
And welcome to Harping Around.
In this episode, we will be taking a look at what it's like with college and a career for a harpist. And we have a very special guest on to talk about her experience with navigating college and career, Elizabeth Yeoh-Wang, the 2021 to 2023 American Harp Society concert artist.
Hey, Elizabeth. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
For sure. I'm Elizabeth. I was formerly the American Harp Society concert artist for 2021 to 2023. And I've been playing harp since third grade. For my harp studies, I studied with Karen Lakelis in New York City. And then when I graduated, I went to Harvard and the New England Conservatory, where I did the 5-year program, so it's a dual degree. I got to study with the Boston Symphony harpist, Jessica Joel, for the full time. So that was really nice. 5 years with her throughout my undergrad, where I got a computer science degree at Harvard, and then also for my fifth year, which is the Master's of Music here, where I got my Master's in Harp Performance.
Wow. So what were some of your priorities when choosing like a school, and how did you decide on the path that you went?
Yeah, a lot of colleges, especially I feel like in the US, are pretty similar. Like you'll find diverse people, a lot of classes, a lot of extracurriculars. So I actually think for me, I used harp to help narrow it down. Just because like there's so many kind of similar schools, and I feel like I could be happy in a lot of different places. And so what I did was I actually took some lessons at the schools that were higher on my list, and I got to know the teachers in the areas. So that was really nice because then it helped me like envision what it would be like to go to that school and like have your harp teacher, because like your harp teacher is one of the most important people. I didn't have any professors all 4 years, you know. So whereas I had Jessica for like 5 years. So I feel like for me that was like a priority because I knew I didn't want to stop playing harp. And so I used that to sort of help guide my decisions on making that.
Wow, that's a great way of going about it because there's so many things to consider, but who your teacher is, that's super important and a really great idea. And I'm curious, what was your experience like pursuing a dual degree? Because everybody knows how much effort a harp requires, and any college degree is a lot of work. So were you able to balance both at the same time?
I think there's definitely trade-offs because everyone has a fixed number of hours in a day. And also, I definitely wanted to make time to use college to like meet new people and make friends. So I think for me, it was like recognizing that I couldn't do everything that helped me fit it in
Yeah.
in a way. And so I think because sometimes I definitely didn't get to practice as much as I would want to, or there were certain jobs that I wanted to take that I didn't end up taking because I knew it would be like impossible to continue with NEC. And so I did have to make certain decisions. And then also I tried to prioritize like putting harp in and making it more convenient for myself. So like even if I only had half an hour or something or like 15 minutes, if I was in the area, I would go practice because my harp is always kept in one place on campus, which wasn't super close to my dorm, honestly. So I would try to coordinate it so that like it would just it would just be natural so that after class I could go practice or things like that. And I think for me that worked just making it like there's no amount of practice time that's too short because it's better to practice like 15 minutes a day than to not practice at all because you're like cramming for finals or something like that. So I think that was something that I tried to do. And then I think there were also some things where like I mentioned, the job thing. I did, there was a year where I took on like not a full-time job, but it was like a job. First, I was doing software engineering, and then I was a product manager. So I was managing like a team of designers and engineers, and that was super fun. But I only ended up doing that for around a year because that, on top of my schoolwork, on top of harp, was like a little much to handle. So there was sort of trade-off. But I think honestly, like in college, I treated it like it was the thing that I did for myself, if that makes sense. Like just because I like to do it. And instead of thinking of it as like, oh, I like this is like another class I'm studying for, it was more like, oh, this is my break. And I think that helped a lot.
That's a great mindset. So for those who are like unfamiliar, what does a dual degree like sort of entail?
Yeah. So they're all different. And I can talk about this later too, but for Harvard and the New England Conservatory specifically, you basically just get your undergrad degree normally at Harvard, and then you're taking lessons throughout. And then there's also some music and orchestra requirements, but they're the sort of extracurricular things that you'd probably do for fun anyway. So I was in the orchestra, the Harvard Radcliffe Orchestra, all 4 years. And I think that that might have actually been required once I was in the fourth, like in my senior year of college. And then you also have to take some music credits, which are just like fun elective classes that you
Mhm.
can take. And then after that, so I think technically the fourth year of Harvard counts sort of like also your first year of the master's. And then when you graduate from Harvard, then you enter the fifth year of the master's. So you're just at NEC full time. And that was like super fun for me because I think, as you know, like the balancing is really tricky. So it was really nice to have a whole year to just focus on harp, and just like really get to make the most of the time that I have with Jessica. It was during the pandemic, so the classes were remote, but then I got to finish out my NEC course credits, so that was fun too.
Oh, that's great. So what role does like harp play now for you?
Yeah, so after the concert artist position, I was like, I still want to play harp and keep
Mhm.
performing. So I actually work as a consultant now. So I do like data and analytics. So I was doing that during my concert artist position too. So I'm still doing that, my job. And then I also play with some orchestras. I'll sub with orchestras. I got to go to Oregon for a week, so that was really fun because I had never been. And then I was like working during the day, and since it was West Coast time, it's actually kind of perfect because I would work my full work day and then we would have rehearsals. I think it was like 7:30, which is like 10:30 Eastern, but then it's definitely not going to interfere with any work and things like that. So that ended up working really nicely. And then I actually also I'm going to play with my former harp teacher in a Nutcracker in like a community performance, and also have a solo concert lined up for January. So yeah, really excited about that. And I hope I can keep finding other ways to perform because it can honestly be kind of tricky if you don't have like a position like concert artist to help figure out your venues and things like
Mm.
Yeah, that would be tricky to find good performing opportunities, especially balancing school and then later a job. So, do you have any recommendations for those who might be in a similar situation of, oh, I've got all these other things I'm wanting to do, but I really want to perform? Do you have any recommendations for how to find performance opportunities?
Yeah, for sure. I think, I mean, your first network is your teacher, right? Because I feel like they're the ones who are like raising you, kind of.
Yeah.
And so I think like my teacher when I was in high school, she would actually help me find like one-off gigs with like orchestras that she played with. And they're often like community orchestras with adult musicians who might also have full-time jobs. And oftentimes they don't have a harpist in those sorts of organizations. So that was really fun. I think I played Symphony Fantastique with her. And
Oh,
that was, I think playing with your teacher is like one of the most fun things you can do.
Mhm.
Just because like, I don't know, you get to rehearse together and then you get to go perform together. So it's really a nice like bonding experience. And then I think another thing I like doing was like playing in nursing homes. So you can do like a volunteer concert, and the old folks love to hear the music. Usually, I think the recommendations if you can use it to practice some of your concert rep. If you have like the recital at the end of the year or your studio recital, you want to practice that solo. You can use it for that, but then also throw in some like oldies or songs they can sing with because it's honestly so fun, and it's really sweet. Because I think with old people, they actually have their memories like activated by music, and so music is something. I actually took a class on this, so small diversion, but yeah. So music activates your whole brain. So even as you're aging and might have like dementia, there's a lot of studies showing that people still retain the memory of music. And so if you play something like "You Are My Sunshine" or "Over the Rainbow," like songs that everyone knows and from their childhood, you'll often see like this magical like people will say after like, oh, like I don't think like my dad didn't really talk that much, or like he doesn't talk that much anymore, but he was singing. So yeah, I definitely recommend the nursing home.
that sounds like an absolutely amazing experience, being able to do something like that and give such a gift to those who were there. And for those who really want to improve upon what they can give by going the college route for the harp, do you have any advice for those who are still deciding whether or not they may want to go the college route with the harp?
Yeah, for sure. I think it depends on the person. And also there's a lot of different programs available. I was actually kind of sad because I really loved my teacher who I had from third grade through senior year, Karen in New York. But I felt like it's good to like try different teachers and like have a new experience, and also maybe try living somewhere that wasn't New York City for a little bit. And she also encouraged me to do that too. So I think it's good to find different teachers or different people to study with, whether that's through summer festivals or if you want to go to college. And you can either focus in harp, like you could maybe try to apply to conservatories, or you could study in a college but still get a harp degree. And then also there's this like the dual degree programs that I did, where you get potentially more conventional academic degree, and then you also get a music degree. And then there's also like the option of if you just want to do an academic degree, you could also continue to play harp in orchestra. Like there were tons of people in the Harvard Radcliffe Orchestra who were not music majors and were not in Harvard NEC. So I think Harvard NEC is only like 10 people, usually like falls down to like 5 or 3 by the end. But there was tons of people who were really involved in orchestra and chamber music in college. So a lot of people do prioritize it and make time for it. So if you're anywhere on that spectrum of I want to keep playing harp, I think there's a way for you to keep doing it.
Yeah, so thank you so much for all of your amazing advice and for coming on to talk with us today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's nice to chat with you guys again.
And thank you for watching. If you have any comments, suggestions, ideas for future episodes, or if you would like to come on and join us to talk, feel free to leave a comment down below or email us at harpingaround@harpsociety.org. See you next time.